Hey, so I've written a lot and talked a lot recently about the things that the Bolt EV I feel needs to improve a little bit to stay up to speed with its competitors, direct competitors, but also just, you know, offer drivers a little bit more in the way of DC fast charging speed, creature comforts inside the cabin, bunch of different things. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that today, but also give it some love because it's an amazing car, really does very well, and there's a lot of things that still shine. Remember, this is a car that was released 3 years ago, but also it was, you know, that means it was in design and conception 4 or 5 years ago. So the fact that it still holds its own today in many areas is pretty impressive. GM did a great job with the vehicle. You can easily take a lot of a beating if you talk about the faults or the things that could be improved on a car, but let's give it credit where it's due. A lot of good stuff in this car, and that's what we'll take a look at today. So one of the things that I love about this car is also kind of at odds with one of the gripes I have about it. The interior I would describe in some ways as low tech. You know, the manual seat adjustment, for example, is very rental car feel, but when you get to stuff like the center console and the dash cluster, there's a really great design here, great application. This is the advanced version. You get 3 different styles. So there's also, where are we here, your layout. You can have, this is enhanced, modern is a bit more minimalist, and classic goes even more minimalist, but we never change from enhanced. Enhanced gives you this kilowatt power rating on the right there, which tells you how much energy or how much power you're drawing to accelerate and how much you're regenerating when you brake in L mode. There's also the instrument cluster or the range gasometer on the left here, which is valuable. You can't see it now, but we'll put some footage up to show you the, you know, you have the max here in the enhanced display, the minimum, and the predicted range right there in the middle, 141 miles right now. And then the bars will go up or down. It'll tell you whether you're trending up towards the max with a green line or down towards the minimum with a yellow line. And that's all over the cluster. That's going to show you when you're accelerating hard. It's going to show you yellow to warn you that this is going to impact your range negatively, and when you are driving well, that's going to come up into the green and tell you you're trending towards the max. So that kind of aligns with the center console here. Again, a nice touch. As you go into energy, you have a lot of different feedback here on how you're driving, how your use of the car is, you know, affecting your range, how much energy you've used, how your climate settings are affecting it, whether there's been any battery conditioning to keep the battery cool in summer or heated up in winter. And then you get this. So your technique here is kind of directly related to the information on your dash. So if you're constantly accelerating hard, not really using much regenerative braking, going high speeds, which obviously you can't always, you know, control. If you're on a highway, you've got to go a certain speed, but all of that is going to factor in with what you're seeing here, and that'll result in your energy usage score here. So one of the things that I'd like is if you could reset it yourself, not have to charge to full as the Audi e-tron does with short-term memory, long-term memory. But, you know, again, this is the overall application of this is really, really well done, and it's something we use in the Bolt all the time. You know, it's not necessarily something that everybody wants to get into with data and performance, but it really helps us drive the car. You know, it helps us to know whether we're close to our range estimate, whether we're, you know, not driving it as efficiently as we should if we're on a longer trip. So I have to give a lot of praise to the designers here. They did a really good job.
So another nice feature that we find useful is the rear view camera, which flips on from the mirror to this wide angle camera, shows you what's behind you, Tesla Model 3 in this case. And it's really useful when we have a packed back or the kids are in there or a big adult. It's just a nice little extra that they included that we've found very useful on longer trips especially, or the highway. Now, another thing we love about the Bolt EV that's more difficult to show in a video is GM's application of one-pedal driving. Obviously, you'll get this in others like the Tesla Model 3, the Nissan Leaf, BMW i3. A lot of them have good applications of one-pedal driving technology, whether they call it the e-pedal or e-drive. It doesn't really need a fancy name in the Bolt EV. It's just a mixture of L mode or the regenerative braking pedal that you have behind the steering wheel. But it's really well done. It feels like a seamless drive. You can recoup a lot of energy via it. And it's relaxing. It's an easy way to drive the car, make it more energy efficient. It's aggressive at first once you start to get into the car, but once you get used to it, it's a really, really well done application of something that is special about electric cars, and it doesn't get talked about as much as it should, maybe because they didn't give it a fancy name, but they did a really good job here, the engineers, and I think it's worth pointing out that even against like the Tesla Model 3, which I've driven, and others, it comes out on top in most cases, and certainly is comparable even now. There are plenty of other aspects we really love about the Bolt. I've covered some of them in previous videos with the hatch here. Obviously, the form factor of the vehicle is very good for us as a family of 4. The size inside is deceptively large. Outside, it looks like a pretty small, compact vehicle. Inside, you've got lots of leg room, lots of room for the kids to get up, flat back floor, lots of space, really. We never struggle for luggage. So it's just really a summary comparing, some of the competitors that have come out since. The Bolt still holds up in a lot of areas. It's a car we really love, and credit to GM for doing a really good job getting the Bolt EV to market first and making a great electric car.